Alrighty, and here we continue on with putting this fuselage together. If you notice, I got a bunch of clamps. These things I got from I don't know, Harbor Freight. You can get them everywhere. They're like $4 or $5 for a bucket of them. They come in handy. You can never have enough clamps, and of course I got clamps from other places too. But anyway, I clamped all this up, and it's pretty close to set. It's been about an hour or so. And I'll go ahead and take all this apart and move on to the next steps. So in case you're wondering, I did put numbers on, part numbers on all these, and these are F1A and F1B, and the B is a little bit longer than the A. Let me put those up there. And the sides are F2, and then you have F3 as a doubler and F4 as the bottom doubler. So now that we got that done, we can move on. That's probably the biggest thing that slows you down is dealing with the adhesives. But that's alright. If you want to make a good airplane, you got to use good adhesives. Okay. So one of the things I do when I'm putting together a fuselage like this is I use blue tape as a clamp, and I've got other clamps too, but the blue tape works pretty good, and that's what we'll use for this part. So you kind of want to trial fit everything. I'm not going to put the firewall on or F1 on right away, so this is F5, and it goes right in here. Just kind of want to, there we go. This is F6, but as you notice, this part is tabs into F6. And just so you know, the original plane didn't do that. I did a lot of engineering on here, and that kind of keeps your this is for your servos and your receiver tray and whatever else you're going to do there. So we'll trial fit that in there. That's that. And this is F8, and it goes down here and helps give support on this other end. Just like so. And you can use epoxy for this, but I'm going to go ahead and use the Sig Bond for all this. Like I said, it works just fine. A little slower. I definitely don't recommend using CA on plywood, this light ply. It tends to get absorbed into the material and doesn't really create a strong bond. And so I'm going to put a little bit of glue on here. And start gluing all these on there. And the nice thing about drawing everything in Fusion with the 3D is all these parts fit the first time, whereas before, when I was using a 2D CAD program, I would often have to go back and make some adjustments. It was just kind of the nature of it, unless you were really good at measuring. So here again, paper towel comes in handy. I like to clean up all these little joints in here, get all that excess glue out. That is nothing but weight. Alright, let's pull this out. And I'm going to put some glue here. Yeah, I haven't decided if I'm going to fly this with glow or electric yet. That's why I haven't drilled any holes in my firewall. I'm going to have to decide that pretty soon, because you kind of want to do that before you mount your firewall. So I won't mount that today, because I'll figure out. I kind of want to go glow. I've got a brand new Thunder Tiger 10 in a box that needs a home in it. This might be it. at the field I fly, everybody flies big giant stuff and a lot of foamies. I'm kind of the rare one. There's a few guys that build, but not like it used to be, which is sad. As I said, building is definitely rewarding. I cut a kit for a friend of mine who's just getting back into flying, and he wanted something to build, so I had a Barnstormer 25S that I drew up, and I cut him one of them, and he's just about finished with it. And you get all the spots where wood comes into contact. You want to make sure and put glue on there. Here and a little bit right there. So now let's put this in. I may have got the wrong order here. No, I think I got it. Alright. Let's wipe off some of the excess. I think right here would be a good spot for a small clamp. These cheap clamps, the little tips come off of them sometimes, but there we go. And again, clamping pressure is your friend when it comes to especially wood glue like this. That's where it all comes from. That may not work there, so we're just going to have to tape that up. Alright, so now I can go ahead and put my other side, and you notice I made two sides. So let's put a little glue on here. There's one thing about it, when you build an airplane like this, you don't even need the plans. I make everything so no plans necessary. And get all these little spots where the wood's gonna make contact. Good glue joints are where it's at. I know when I started building, I didn't have too many, there weren't too many kits that locked together like this. There were a few, but then Pilot in the 80s had a whole bunch of them in the late 70s and 80s, and they were a hit with everybody because they built so nice. And then I've gone a step further with their stuff by not needing plans, which is definitely handy. Let's see if we can get this to all line up like we want it. There we go. Let's turn this around a little bit. Get that in there. There we go. Just like a giant 3D puzzle. That's what I tell people. Building model airplanes is not hard. It's like a big 3D puzzle. The one thing about this, with the way that this F7 or this servo tray works, it helps align this fuselage and squares up with that former. So when you put this in there, there's no way you're going to get what we used to call a banana fuselage. When you would look down it, you might look like this versus looking straight down symmetrical. So this was really handy by having those in there. So now I'm just going to get a little bit of tape and apply some clamping pressure. This is the down and dirty way to do it if you don't have long clamps. I have long clamps, but sometimes this is just easier. And I may put some of the long ones on there. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Now let's put some pressure up here. Oops. And I just realized I won't be able to put the bottom piece on there, but I'll run the top one and then come back and run the bottom one. Okay. When I say top and bottom piece, I'm talking about the crutches back there on the turtle deck. Now the bottom piece comes all the way up here. Alright, and you know you've got a good joint when you see a little bit of glue oozing out. So let's clean up all that. There we go. Or you've got a good pressure when you see the glue coming out. That's what you want to see. You know, squeeze that out of the joint. Not all of it, but just a little bit of it. Alright, so that's going to work there. Now I can go ahead and put in this back former right here. Let me get this in a shot. And here's the top. This is F9. And so we can go ahead and glue this little guy here and make sure it fits good. Yeah, there we go. And you notice you got a little bit of waggle there, but that's going to get fixed when we put that top piece right up here, and that's going to square this up. So, and we call that a crutch when it's built like that. And that's going to make this fuselage dead on straight. And again, that's the beauty of 3D CAD. You got to have a straight airplane, you know, straight fuselage, otherwise you're going to have a lot of trim problems. I learned that the hard way. Like I said, I've built over 100 airplanes, free flight, control line, remote control, sailplanes, gas, glow, electric, everything. And it's a great hobby. And it's kind of a shame that it's not as much of it going on, but there's still people doing it. Guys like you, interested in it, guys like me. And hopefully what I do on my channel is helping you guys out. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put this top crutch on. So I can, and I'll tape all this together, and then we'll come back and glue the bottom crutch on. Let me get this tape out of the way there. And this was one of the things that with Fusion that I was able to do was flatten this piece out, because if you notice, it's got a curve to it here along this line, but Fusion, with that sheet metal deal that I showed in one of my videos, you're able to flatten this out in the material that you're using, and then it's going to fit into place where you want it. So, and I've got it set where I didn't have any tolerances at all, like it's dead on, and then on my laser I come back and I bring my curve to the outside, so I'm making sure and getting the full size of what that piece should be. So everything fits probably too snug, but not really. I like it snug fit, so that doesn't give you any room for anything to move around on you. I think it goes over the top of this former. And then we're going to come in here. I know everybody thinks, what's that old guy doing using that old wood glue? But I like it, and it doesn't stink. And it gives you time to enjoy what you're doing. Yeah, so like a piece like this that curves, when I was doing 2D CAD, I always had to come back and remeasure the notches. I would go make a cut, and I was like, well, that didn't work out. But now with Fusion, when I cut these out, it's dead on. It works every time. It's miraculous. I've actually got some models that I'm working on that I'm actually going to sell full-fledged kits for. I got a partner, and we're supposed to be kicking that off pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. Because the world needs more kits. Let me get a little bit of glue right in here. Here we go. Alright. Let's squeeze this little guy in there. Yeah, like I said, no tolerances, just dead on. There we go. There we go. I'm going to have to put some clamps on the side right there to make that curve. But that's not a problem. We have them. Just like that. Push that down all the way. Come back in here. Okay. Oop. Turn it sideways. There we go. There, that fits nice over that former. That's meeting up pretty good there. This is meeting up. Let me get a clamp back here too. Let's use these little guys. Buy lots of clamps. That's even no matter what kind of woodworking you're doing, you need lots of clamps. Alright. Here's my paper towel. We'll wipe all this down. Like I said, the nice thing about this glue, you may see all this right now, but this stuff sands off beautifully. It is no problem whatsoever. And let's see, we have one more. Here we go. Okay, that looks good. That looks pretty good. And so that will square everything up. Just as can be, like this is a straight fuselage. And then we'll come back. I might be able to go ahead and put that bottom on. Yeah, let's do that. We'll peel this off now that we got the top on there. Go ahead and put that bottom on. And I think I'll make that a video. We'll finish this up. So here we go with F10. And it's going to go on the bottom here, all the way up to the front there. So let's get some more glue. I do have these little applicators that I ordered from SIG, and they're pretty handy, but you have to put some back pressure on them. But I do use those on occasion. Let's get plenty of glue on here. And some people, you know, another thing you can do while this glue is drying, you can always move on to the, you know, to the empennage or the wing and start building those while this is drying. You can always keep moving. Trust me, I've built a lot of airplanes with this glue, and I've built a whole lot of them overnight. Yes, I notice a little bit of crack right there. I'm gonna get a long clamp. Put it right in here. There we go. That'll keep that nice and tight. May put one back there too. Yeah, so go to the hardware store, buy lots of clamps. You're never going to have too many clamps. Yeah, I think I can get that in there. F1, I was looking at that. May not be getting everything in a shot, sorry about that. Okay. I'm just gluing all the edges on one side, then I come back and glue the edges on the other. Alright, that looks pretty good there. Let me get the edges here. Probably not going to glue this part up front because I have to put F1 in there, and to do that I want to use epoxy. So anytime you glue your firewalls on, don't use CA, please don't. and don't use this glue either. Use epoxy. It's going to give you, again, a stronger and flexible joint, which is what you want up there, because you have vibration from your motor and prop, you know, not being perfect. And especially if you're going glow, you definitely want to make sure you're using epoxy. And if you use epoxy, that joint's not going to fail if you do it right. And if you use CA or cyanoacrylate or super glues, you're probably going to have a failure in that joint. It's just not going to be able to withstand it all. And I know there's probably some guys that argue with me about it, and that's fine. That's fine. Do it how you want, but I'm just saying, some stuff you want epoxy. Yeah, I've been doing it a while, and a lot of the guys I used to fly with, many of them are passed away now. They taught me how to build, and that was the thing they did. Always put epoxy on that firewall, and your landing gear, use epoxy. Alright, I think we got the glue on there. So let's go ahead and put this on here. That just needs to squeeze in there. There we go. Nice snug fit. Yep, that's how I like it to go together. This one up here to cooperate with us, just like that. And like I said, I'm going to leave that open right now so I can come back and epoxy that firewall in. I know this looks like a mess when you see glue everywhere, but if you've ever worked in a cabinet shop, you'd see it's a pretty messy job. Once you sand it all, comes out beautiful. Alright, let's put our tape clamps down. Just like that. I'm getting a little more squeeze out there. I'm going to go get some little water on my rag here. Let me do that, and then I'm going to get some more clamps. Yeah, this is just damp. You don't want it wet. I just want to get all that glue off. There we go. Now let's go ahead and wrap some more tape on here, or we can clamp it like this. Yeah, let's wrap tape. That's looking pretty good right there. Got a little more squeeze out there. And there you have it. So we're going to stop right here and get in here, and then next time we'll come back and epoxy the F1, the firewall in. And hopefully by then I'll have decided what motor I'm going to use. Really, I should have put this in when I put the other formers in, but that's alright. There's a little bit of play in here, and then we'll have to also epoxy again this guy right here, and it's going to be a little fun to reach because it's down inside there, and this is a plate to back up and give support to the landing gear, and also have some other supports that I need to put in there, so that'll be fun, but we'll get it in there. Alright, so hopefully we'll make some more progress on this little Junior 100. Thank you guys.